Board members, if we can get you to take your seats, we'll get started. Want to welcome everyone to our meeting, the USBE board meeting today. We, of course, want to welcome Mark March and Mike Haynes. I'm going to get all these names. It's just all figured out. I'm sure we'll make some mistakes along the way, and everyone else that's here today. It's been a couple months since we've met. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the July break from a board meeting. I know staff probably has, trying to squeeze vacations and different things in. But of course, when you look at our agenda today, it's big, and of course they had to prepare for it, so I want to thank them for that. But before we get going, or as we get going here, we'll have board member Linda Hansen lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'll stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is swearing in our new board members, and we'll start off with new board member Mark March. If I can have you come up. It's kind of fun to do it by this flag, so we'll just get you right in here, and we've got a camera here. Okay, raise your right hand. If you follow me on this, I, then state your name,
I, Mark Marsh,
do solemnly
swear
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. Mark. Oh, I know you're anxious to get right in the saddle and get to work, but I think.
Yeah, just one of the. Perfect.
Hey, thank you. Mike.
Here.
Hey, Mike. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Mike Haynes,
Do solemnly swear that I will support,
obey,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Utah,
of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge
that I will discharge
the duties
the duties
of my office
of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
All right. Well, you want to introduce?
Sure, this is my wife, Melinda Haynes. Thank you for coming.
Well, I visited with her earlier and thanked her for her support. And, did you want a picture with them up there or anything by this flag? Sure. You came all this way. Yeah, when they sit down.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before we move off this item, I'd like to create an opportunity for new board member Mark Marsh to test drive his mic there. And there's an opportunity if you want to say anything or We,
Right, is it on? Yep.
It is
I
on.
can hear it. Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here to serve with you, and I've looked forward to this opportunity for a month, not having been able to do anything on my local board since I resigned. So I'm willing to do anything and work hard, so thank you.
well, welcome aboard. Mike, Board Member Mike Marsh? Not Marsh. See, I'm already doing it. Haynes. Okay, let me turn this on. There you go.
There it is. Thank
Board-
you.
Board Member Haynes. I'll get that in. Board
Yes.
Member Haynes.
Thank you. I'm excited to work with you. I've heard such great things about everybody, and I'm happy to be associated with you. Look forward to doing some good. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your willingness to serve. Okay. Next, on our agenda, we have our board member message and board member Newell. Have you got that? Okay.
We'll jump right in. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wonderful. I'm going to read from this because if I don't read from it, I'll forget things I want to say. It is with great pride and thankfulness that I serve on this board, and I'm sure that my fellow board members feel the same. I'm glad to have this moment to elucidate why we serve on the State Board of Education. As the administrators of policy, we have a great responsibility to serve and represent not only those of our individual districts, but each and every individual in our great state of Utah. We are the stewards of the state's educational system that touches every child at some point and in some form, and that impact cannot be taken lightly. We are in the thralls of a demographic shift in the state of Utah that is impacted by our actions, and we must be cognitive of the variables that are developing in our relationship to our educational system. Our responsibility as decision makers gives us the opportunity to be agents of change. We cannot be distracted or steered in any way that hampers us from effectively serving our entire populations of students, teachers, and administrators. Our charge is to serve in a manner that is conducive to the implementation of innovation and positive academic environments. Our charge is also to ameliorate barriers to accomplishing the ultimate goal. That goal is to provide our students with a safe and secure environment where they can learn and grow on their way to becoming citizens who will contribute to our society as prepared adults. Team Utah includes all of us, parents, administrators, educators, politicians, and industry leaders. We are all responsible for the positive outcomes we as board members work to impact. Let us never forget who we serve, all.
Thank you, Board Member Newell. Next, we'll invite Superintendent Dixon up to do the employee recognition.
Normally, we would start with the Employee of the Month, and our Employee of the Month is out of town, and we haven't even been able to recognize her formally, so we will do so in September. You'll see her picture out in the foyer in the next couple of weeks, so we'll hold off on that. But I just want to state that August is a time where we have a lot of new employees, August and September, and this is pretty typical each year as we have great employees that get poached and go out into schools, and so we often have a big influx, and we are really getting some great employees. So we're excited to introduce these folks to you today, and again, we'll have another large group in September. But if you would just come forward and state your name and the department you'll be working in, and where you came from, besides heaven.
Well, good morning. I'm Dr. Malia Height, and I am the middle school math specialist and MTSS specialist working in teaching and learning. And I come from the Jordan School District, where I was the district's special education math specialist. And I'm pleased to be here.
My name is Rachel Stagg. I'm in the child nutrition programs as a specialist, and I came from working at the Salt Lake County WIC program.
Hi, my name is Hafsa Zahid, and I'm also a child nutrition specialist with the child nutrition program, and I just graduated in health promotion and education from University of Utah.
Hi, my name is Greg Cannell. I'm the research consultant at the State Charter School Board, and previous to this, I was a student at the Bush School of Government and Public Service at Texas A&M. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christina Yamada, and I work in the CTE department as the new IT specialist, and I come from Davis School District.
My name's Maren Hansen. I'm also in CTE as an education specialist over health science, personal services, and protective services, and I was previously also in Davis School District.
I'm Erin Britt, and I'm also in CTE as an executive secretary, and I previously came from Indiana. I'm newly moved to Utah.
Hello, I'm Melissa Preziosi. I'm in the Assessment and Accountability Department as an assessment data specialist, and I previously worked at Clearlink Technologies as a data analyst.
I'm Brooke Hatch. I am the secondary math content specialist in the special ed department, and I came from Jordan School District.
Good morning. I am Lisa Young, and I am the new member of the Educator Effectiveness Team. I most recently was a principal in Arizona. However, most of my 20 years in education has been in Utah, and I am super thrilled to come home. Our educational community is amazing. So, thank you.
Buenos dias. My name is Jimmy Hernandez, and I'm currently the research consultant with Digital Teaching and Learning, and I'm coming from BYU's PhD program.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, board members. My name is Dale Frost. I'm your new fiscal policy analyst. Before then, I was the state policy director for the national nonprofit iNACOL, and I also served as education policy advisor for Arizona Governor Jan Brewer, and was and worked as a budget analyst for the Arizona Executive Budget Office. And I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sean McHenry, and I am your new Chief Information Security Officer. And most immediately, I was part of the security team over at DTS with the state. So I've been with the state for about 5 years now.
Thank you. You know, the superintendent brought up how we occasionally lose employees, which is common with an organization this size, but it's fun seeing them out still in the education community. But these new ones come in, I'm excited to see what they bring to the table and complement and bring many more betterments to USBE. So welcome aboard, and just superintendents, thank you for the recruitments, the recruiting that you're doing. We're looking forward to the betterments that will come. Okay, next we invite Kathy Jensen, our education specialist, to come up and brief us on the acknowledgement of our student artwork.
Thank you, Chair Huntsman. It is really a pleasure to introduce you to the work of students across the entire state as they participated in the PTA Reflections program, and these are representative, not the entire portfolio, but representative of those that were chosen from their districts and regions to participate at a state level. The theme was Heroes Among Us. As I took the time this morning to walk around and read some of the artist statements, my heart, they were really quite touching. The number of students that list one or more parents as their hero, the number of representations of hands, weathered hands, and the work that has been done by grandparents and others in the community. One stood out. It's the young lady with the flowers in her hair. And her name is Alicia Zhang. She is the daughter of one of the employees here at the Utah State Board of Education. And she titled her piece, "The Hero Within." And I thought that was so touching that she sees within herself strength and hero capability. So that's the art from Utah Reflections.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. It's always fun to get that background and then on our breaks catch up on what's what there. So thank you. While you're there, you're also our education specialist, Kathy Jensen, is going to introduce our education highlight, correct?
It is my privilege to introduce to you two gentlemen, if you will come up. Kevin Nakatani represents the Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater as part of our professional outreach program in the schools. And he is here today to specifically introduce Ethan Kelso, who is a student at the Salt Lake Performing Arts Academy, just graduated. And Kevin oversees a POPS program through the Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater that we call Utah High School Musical Theater Awards. So I'll let him talk about that while I get the computer working.
I'd like to thank Kathy for arranging for us to be here, as well as the board for allowing us. The Utah High School Musical Theater Awards has been a program for the past 9 years. We are a regional awards program associated with the National High School Musical Theater Awards, known as the Jimmys in New York City. And besides all of the educational opportunities that we afford children throughout the state of Utah, as well as the feedback that we give them to help them grow their programs and opportunities to attend workshops, part of the program is an award ceremony where we recognize excellence in musical theater accomplishments throughout the state of Utah. And every year we select a Best Actor and a Best Actress winner, and we sponsor them to go to New York for a week and participate in the National High School Musical Theater Awards. Over those 9 years, we've sent 18 students to New York to participate in this program, and they have always represented the state of Utah phenomenally and with pride, and we couldn't be happier of the successes that they have shown in the past. This year, our Best Actor winner at the Utah High School Musical Theater Awards was Ethan Kelso, who went to New York and was further recognized as the Best Actor at the National High School Musical Theater Awards. He is as kind and humble as he is talented. So I'd like to introduce Ethan Kelso to talk a bit about his experiences through the program, as well as perform a piece for you. Ethan Kelso.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. It's such a pleasure. So the Jimmys Awards is something that 86 kids get to go to and do what they love. And perform with some amazing people. We got to sing You Will Be Found with Alex Lacamoire and Andrew Barth Feldman, who's Evan Hansen on Broadway in Dear Evan Hansen right now. And just be with our peers and do what we love is such an amazing thing. To be able to win was something that I never expected I would be able to have the honor of doing. And I got $25,000 in scholarships to go to school and continue doing musical theater, which is really amazing for me. I get emotional about it because it's something that I'm very passionate about. And I did graduate from the Salt Lake School for the Performing Arts, and so what you're doing here is allowing kids to still go and do what they love at a school. And that's really special to me, so thank you for that as well. What I will be singing today is a piece called Wondering from the Bridges of Madison County. This was the piece that I brought to the Jimmys and was able to perform as a finalist, and what I won with. So. A little twinge, a little shock, a little whisper at the bottom of your memory. A sudden wind, a gentle knock, and then a rustle in the leaves. You hold your breath, you check the lock, you reassure yourself there's nothing at the window. But you're wondering. You're wondering, you're wondering what that was. But nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. You turn a key, you flip a switch, you settle back into the blissful unfamiliar. You close your eyes, but there's an itch, a little hurt your heart retrieves. But you ignore the tiny twitch, pretend the feeling will be gone before the morning. But you're wondering, you're wondering, you're wondering where you are. But nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. But wouldn't it be fine to share the weather in her eyes, her hair, her footsteps as she climbs the stairs, the shadow in her light. But everything you know is true, and everything you want to do, and everything that makes you you collides against the night. And nothing's black and white. But you're wondering, you're wondering, you're wondering what to do. You're wondering, you're wondering, you're wondering if it's true. But nothing's gonna happen. Nothing has to happen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ethan. Stay up here.
Yes, I will
We're
stay.
We're going to have, now is the time for some board member questions or comments. so-
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Board Member Hanson?
Hi, that was great. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming. Tell me when you started performing, how old were you, and why did you decide to go to the Salt Lake School for Performing Arts?
Well, that's a great question. I started performing when I was 8 years old. I'll get shortly into why. When I was younger, when I was 3 years old, my father passed away. And then my mother got into a drug addiction. And my sister and I were neglected by her. And we didn't have anything, or and And, you know, music was that coping mechanism for us. And by the time I was 8 years old, my sister called someone, my grandparents, and we were taken away and put in foster care with them for 2 years, and then we were adopted. But when we were taken away, they asked us if they had no idea we could sing until we were singing one day, and then they asked us if we wanted to do a show, because my father was friends with a director. And so I did. We said, yeah, sure, why not? I had no idea what musical theater was, but sure, why not? I loved singing. And the first show that I was supposed to do was Annie, and I was Mr. Bundles. But I got to the rehearsal, and there was so many people there, and then after the rehearsal, I went to my mom and I said, I cannot do this, and I quit the show. And then my sister stayed in it, and then I went and watched the show, and I whispered to my mom, I said, okay, I have to do this. This is cool. And the next one was Oliver. And I kind of was like, I don't want to be a lead or anything. I just want to be in the ensemble if I'm going to do it. And my mom said, will you at least be the understudy for Oliver? And I said, sure. So I did that, and then I did a show. My director gave me one show, and I loved it, and I never went back. And that was with the Jack's Theater Company. It's a youth theater company based out of Syracuse. And I never went back, and I'm finishing my last show with them tomorrow. Yeah. So I've been with them a long time. I went to the Salt Lake School for the Performing Arts my sophomore year. I went to Judge Memorial Catholic High School my freshman year, and then I learned about, we call it SPA for short because it's a long name. I learned about it from a neighbor, and of course, I love performing, and I was like, hey, what do you feel about that? And my dad said, I don't have to pay $1,200 a month? Sure. Joking. But in all seriousness, I wanted to go to that school because I was serious about continuing performing and going to Broadway and doing all of that. And luckily, that school changed the way I perform and made me better. So I am very happy that I made that choice to go there. So
Thank you. That's a great story.
thank you.
Board Member Cannon.
Well, I'd pay to hear you sing. So my question is, you mentioned you got a $25,000 scholarship with
I did.
this award. Can you tell us what your plans are for the future, and maybe where we can come and experience some more of your performing?
Well, I'll start with, we have a show at the Rose Wagner tomorrow night at 8 p.m. It's like a senior recital, so for all the seniors who are graduating. For that scholarship, I'm attending the University of Hartford in Connecticut, the Hart School, for a BFA in musical theater. So I'll use it for that education thing. Yes, it's going to be so much fun. Going far away from Utah, but I think it'll be a great experience. So.
Superintendent Dixon.
Thank you so much for sharing your talent. It
Thank you.
really touched my heart, so thank you. This board is really focused on making learning more personalized for each of our students and really thinking about ways that we can transform education so that it works for each student in our system. What advice would you give us in thinking about how we support our schools in being more personalized so that each student can have experiences where they can grow like you have and yet have a variety of skills so they can be successful when they leave?
Yeah, I mean, there's not. It's hard because the best thing that has been given to me by my teachers is that they have smaller classes to be able to. Because at my school we had a class of 13, and that you can't do that at every school. I think it's more of. I've heard a lot about how theater is being taken out of public schools because it's not as important to them. But I think theater is something that's not just something that kids like to do. It's something that's very important for growth of a human being, not just somebody who wants to do theater. It teaches you to be responsible. It teaches you to be dedicated to something. And that is very important to me. And when I heard that theater was becoming not as important in schools, that hit me hard. Because for me, it taught me to be dedicated to something and to strive towards a goal. Not just because I love theater and because I'm going to do it for a career. It taught me that when you put your mind to something, you have to do it. And you can never give up on doing it. So theater's not something that is just something that kids like to do. It's something that can teach them life skills even if they don't want to do theater in college. So theater's very important in schools, especially public schools, because it also saves kids from going down a different path. If they chose theater over, and I'll say this in a way because I'm a high schooler and I've seen it in high school now, if they chose to do a theater class instead of smoking weed behind the school, that would change schools, definitely. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ethan, for being here today. And
Thank you.
And Kathy for the introduction. And that we wish you well, and thank you for bringing joy and a smile on this face. It's hard to, it's just not naturally there. I practice, but the muscles just don't work. But thank you. The education highlight's important to us. We have it early. It kind of reminds us of why we're here, and you did a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck to you. Thank you. Before we go to public comment, there's a couple things I neglected to do. One is talk a little bit about safety that we normally do at the beginning of our board meetings and also our committee meetings. Just for those that are here for the first time and that, we have exits. Our exits are to my right out these doors, and you can either make a right or left and you're out of the building. Restrooms are just straight outside these doors, and we're glad it's been several months since we were able to have the restrooms on these floors functioning, and I don't have to explain how the elevators and stairs work to get to them. So thank you for getting that done. Also, housekeeping a little bit, we have our public information officer, Emily Wheeler, isn't with us. She had her twins. Kind of really quiet about it, and I respect her privacy, and the twins are fine. 5 pound something, and I believe 6 pound, and that. And I'm not into the Instagram world and that, and I'm not sure names or anything. But if she needs names, being in the grandparent business, I know some good names. They're girls, and I've always wanted to have a Mark A. You know, Mark Allen Huntsman, but I couldn't get any of my kids to name one of their daughters after me, so that's still hanging out there. Board Member Belknap, did you have some insight on an update there?
Well, we could go into the names, but I do want you to know she's back in the hospital herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some additional complications, but she's on maternity leave right now, and again, the babies were fine, and it's been a little bit of a challenge there through her pregnancy. So that's just an update. So back to public comment.